Molly Hemingway, who is she now again?
The Federalist, I believe.
Oh, right. Okay. Says there was no collusion in Russia because Trump has no business relationships there. Now, did she say this before or after?
Like a half hour or so before the letter.
Yeah, this has got to be really rough. So Molly Hemingway is out there last night on Tucker Carlson really trying to establish that there is absolutely no connection. Trump had no business dealings there. Don't you know, Tucker?
The Trump Towers in Moscow. You hear that to this day.
So you need to have business interests in order to have this collusion theory make sense. The dossier said a bunch of actually kind of contradictory things, that Trump was very interested in a business deal in Russia, and also that he'd been offered sweetheart deals. Well, if he'd been offered sweetheart deals, I think we can reasonably assume he would have taken them. There's no evidence he has ever successfully accomplished any business relationship in Russia.
Oh, look at that. He's got a no proof stamp graphic on there. You know, folks, sometimes in cable television, life comes at you fast because you could be at Tucker Carlson at 9 p.m. saying one thing, and then you turn to Channel CNN an hour later, and then Chris Cuomo says this.
Face of the story, or at least the story the president would have you believe. Take a look at this. This is the letter of intent for the proposed Trump Tower, Moscow. All right? It is signed by Donald J. Trump. How do I know? Well, because we've been told it was by his lawyer, and it is. And I'll show it to you in a second. Now, I want you to take a walk down memory lane to remind you of what the president himself has said about this project. First, he said there was no deal. Listen to this.
I have nothing to do with Putin.
I have nothing to do with Russia. I have nothing to do with Russia. We have nothing to do with Russia.
You know, for a deal that didn't mean anything, it's a lot of pages, man, with a lot of detail about what they wanted and how they wanted it and how he'd be paid. And there's his signature. Okay? Cohen said that this was the case. The president said nothing happened. Then he gave a different story where the letter kind of came up, but not in the context of his signing it. Listen.
I think you should go back to, I think it was January. It was just reported very well by Catherine Herridge, who's a terrific reporter on Fox. She talks about a letter that he signed. I don't even remember it. And it specifically talks about this deal.
Catherine Herridge is a good reporter at Fox. Worked with her, know her, respect her. The president doesn't need her to tell him what happened in his own deal. Here's the letter. Cohen didn't sign it. The president did. Then, this weekend, the president's esteemed lawyer said, quote, "It was a real estate project. There was a letter of intent to go forward, but no one signed it." Why are they doing this? This is Donald Trump's signature. It's here. We know this.
Look, I want to be clear. I don't like anybody involved in any of the clips we just played, but that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny.
I'm a criminal with limited cognitive abilities. Stop otherizing
But here's
me.
here's the sad part about it. I would put the percentage of people, like if there is a set of people, let's call it 100%, who believe that Donald Trump had nothing to do with Russia in terms of business things. Now, this is completely aside from whether there was collusion or not collusion. Who knows? He clearly lied about it. Now, maybe that's a problem. Maybe it's not. But the 100% of people who are convinced, they watch Fox, he's convinced they had nothing to do with Russia, I would say that report by Chris Cuomo probably knocked off 2%.
Less.
Right?
And you know, what
yeah.
the answer? Well, people sign plenty of papers, man. He's a busy guy. He's a billionaire.
You put papers in front of
you. Put papers in front of him. You're gonna
you ever seen one of those movies
like
where
it's
just
like
like, give me the thing, bang, 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 give me the other thing, bang, bang,
and then
bang.
what I think Michael Cohen, who's already, he was a rat. He gave him the paper, try to trip him up later. And so again, President Trump was betrayed.
Yeah, his Jew lawyer just gave him those papers.
His Jew lawyer fixed him the papers right there. That was his biggest mistake. He trusted Jews a little too much. Not that I meant to go stand with Israel.
You said yourself that there's a lot of papers in it. You said yourself there's a lot of papers in it. You think I read those? Of course I did.
Yeah, lots of papers.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Your Honor,
he who does not feel me is not real to me. Not guilty.